Hello there, this is Sean Usher from the Surrey Residents Network, and we try and promote lots of local community groups and voluntary organisations and help them to publicise and promote their events and also their associations and things that are going on in their world. And today we've got Tony Carpenter, who's the Head of Marketing and Communications at the Phyllis Tuckwell Hospice Care. Tony, what exactly do you do at the hospice?
So a lot of people ask that question. Head of Marketing and Communications. So my role really is to communicate what we do, why we do what we do, for two areas really. One is for patients, to make sure they understand what it is they're letting themselves in for, what they're visiting, and the other is for fundraising, to ensure that we can get the funds to achieve our mission.
Now, last year I think it was, you actually changed the name from Phyllis Tuckwell Hospice to Care. Why was that?
Okay, well, this has been a process that we've been undertaking for the last 2 or 3 years, really, that everyone thinks a hospice is a building with beds where, unfortunately, people spend their last days. And actually, although that's partly true, in fact, only 15% of what we do is that, the other 85% is much wider. And that wider service is that we're offering hospice care at home. So that's looking after patients where they want to be, which is in their last days, to be surrounded by family and friends. And also we're undertaking lots of therapies and outpatient appointments and care that's not really seen to be part of the main, what you might call the bed care. Mm-hmm. So over the last 3 years, we've been going through this process of trying to understand. The word hospice can be quite frightening to people because of the connotations of the building. So what could we do with the branding, if you like, to try to make it clearer? And we also took on the Beacon service in Guildford last year, or April 2015. So that isn't a hospice, although they are dealing with palliative care and their care at home service was very much the same as ours. They're not a hospice. So we went through this sort of process of branding and looking at what we should call ourselves. And we felt the brand Phyllis Tuckwell was really strong, has been around for 36 years or so. So let's retain that core brand. But then let's just ever so slightly, I don't say water down the word hospice to hospice care. So now we offer hospice care, and we offer hospice care at the hospice, we offer hospice care at the Beacon Centre, and we offer hospice care at home.
And have you enlarged your area then?
No, not geographically. We're still sort of from Camberley in the north down to Hindhead in the south, Fleet in the west to Guildford in the east. It's just there was some confusion with the Beacon service. The Beacon had a care at home service running down from sort of Guildford, Godalming down to Cranley area. We also weekly covered that area. So really it was just a way of making it better for patients and the healthcare professionals, so everyone knows who to refer to.
Okay, so how many beds do you actually have in the hospice, and how many people are you taking care of at any one time out in the district?
Okay, there was only 18 beds. People think that's, wow, I didn't realise it was so small. But 18 beds, so we have 10 single rooms and then a 4-bedded female ward and a 4-bedded male ward. But as I say, that's only 15% of what we do. So we're then looking probably at about, 2,000 people on our books, probably, in terms of who we're looking after in a year. Something like that. It's about 1,600 people we look after in the community and about 350, 360 in the beds.
And this is done with Macmillan nurses out in the district, is it?
Well, we work in partnership with a lot of the organisations, so particularly Marie Curie, who do night nursing. We work with Macmillan nurses, we work with GPs, we work with district nurses, hospital consultants. The whole of the healthcare sort of environment now is very much one of working in partnership. So we work with them. But we have our own nurses going out looking after patients at home.
And what do you think that a hospice offers that a hospital cannot?
Time, I suppose, is probably the best thing. I mean, clearly we're experts in palliative care or end-of-life care in what we do. But in the hospice environment, we have a much higher ratio of nurse-to-patient ratio. And that enables our nurses to spend time with patients rather than rushing from one patient to the next, having to administer the next medication. And I'm absolutely not knocking the NHS. The nurses there do an incredible job, but they're under incredible pressure. There's not enough of them. And at the hospice we have enough nurses to look after our patients and give them all the compassion and care they need and time. We even have hand-holding duties. Nurses sit on the end of the bed and hold your hand and talk to you.
Yeah, whenever I go across to the Phyllis Tuckwell Hospice, or if I've visited people, or just generally as a sort of like fundraising thing, I always am amazed at the sort of the number of people who have said to me in the past, people I've known who've been there, that they understand us here. They understand what we're up. They've sorted out my drugs, everything. This is much happy. In fact, one person I know who passed away in October last year, he said to me, "I'm the happiest I've been here. I've been in the last 2 years, actually. I've been the happiest I've been here. And I've been in the last 2 years because Phyllis Tuckwell have sorted me out." And that's
Absolutely,
what you do.
absolutely, and I think we hear that all the time. We had an appeal last Christmas, which was Christmas angels. People refer to our nurses as angels. I mean, the clinical care here is phenomenal. They understand the whole being. That's the physical, medical part of your care, and then also the emotional and the spiritual part of your care. Those all work very much hand in hand, and we have experts in all of those areas working with the whole person. So we would look at things from doctors doing the medication, nurses offering the nursing care. We've got therapists doing physiotherapy and occupational therapy and complementary therapy and massages and relaxation. And there's an incredible amount of work going on in that field of therapies to understand how relaxation that can reduce pain. So you don't need always to turn to drugs to reduce pain. You can use therapies. And then we have all our counselling and patient and family services where they look at the what's going on between the ears really, and to help people come to terms with the place they're at. And that's not just the patients, that includes the families and friends as well.
Well, that all costs money, and it's not on the NHS. So explain to me the sort of the amount of money you get, if you don't mind, from the NHS, and how much you have to raise.
Yeah, well, the answer is not enough. We get about 20% of our funding from the NHS, so we're running at about 10 million at the moment annual running costs, and we get about 2 million from the NHS in very much round figures.
So 10 million a year you need. How much is that, like a week or a month, or what is it?
I think it works out at something like, you're going to catch me now, Sean. I think it's about £26,000 a day.
Wow. I remember it used to be 15,000, but with all the extra things you're doing.
We used to say we need to raise £15,000 a day in order to fund all our services. Excuse me. But actually that's going up, and we've just been re-looking at all our figures, and I think I'm about to push that up to over £20,000 a day now we have to raise.
So a lot of people do raise funds for the hospice for various reasons. What big fundraising events has the hospice got planned for this year?
Anything you can think of, we'll do. I mean, at the moment we're at the beginning of the year, so we're talking about Get Fit for Phyllis. Get Fit for Phyllis is a sort of an umbrella campaign, and it has a number of activity-based events running underneath it. So things to do with running. We've got our Dash of Colour coming up towards the end of the year in September. We have forest runs in, for example, Chiddingfold. We do the Great South Run in Portsmouth. And if you're not into running and you're into cycling, then we've got the London sort of legacy sportive ride. There's the London rides, there's a Vietnam ride. We do walking, we do obstacles, so there's an awful lot of sort of activity based.
Do you organise some of those, the hospice?
Yes, I mean probably, I don't know, 20% we organise ourselves, and then them either we have an allocation where we put a number of runners or cyclists in, and then obviously our community is doing an awful lot in terms of events and stuff.
Sure.
And then we have our other events, which are our classic events, so our Strictly Dancing, which happens later in the year, where we would get the BBC dance stars coming along, and we get a group of people dancing to raise money and sponsorship for charity. We have our Christmas parties, which was an enormous success.
I hear there's a skydiving thing going on. Are you getting involved in that personally?
Yeah, well, not personally. No, you wouldn't catch me doing that. I remember about 12, 15 years ago, my wife jumped out of an aeroplane. I thought, I'm never doing that one. Lots of people do, and we are very grateful for it.
Yeah.
But our team are very active in that one. They support people through that.
So if someone wants to set up an event to raise funds, is it quite an easy process? I mean, do you have forms that you send out and that kind of thing?
It is an easy process. The best way, rather than trying to explain it in terms of what to do, is just go to our website, pth.org.uk, go to events section, you'll see what's happening there, and speak to our fundraising team. If you want to phone, it's 01252 729 446. Just explain what you want to do, and they will support and help you in whichever way is appropriate. We have things like banners and tins and collecting buckets and flags and all that sort of stuff. So we can help make your event more more impactful.
I know that when I've run events with my brother, we've actually done disco events, and we've actually put on these events in Farnham, and we got like sort of 1,000 people there. No, we haven't. What am I saying? It's a different event. I've got 300 people, which 1,000 would be great, but no, it's about.
That's not a different charity.
We raised like £6,000, and the help we got at the time, I've got to say, was brilliant from the Phyllis Tuckwell. The all the banners, as you say, and all the tins and everything else. People are so generous when it comes to the Phyllis Tuckwell, because I think everybody knows somebody who's been there, or a family member or a friend, and it's such a strong brand name, isn't it?
I think it's 1 in 3 is about the figure we quote for our catchment area. We have about 550,000 people in our catchment area, and I think we touch 1 in 3 of those people in some way with either immediate family or themselves. So it's a big impact in the whole community.
Okay, so people can set up their own events and they can raise money. But if you want to make a donation, Tony, how do you go about that? That's a simple thing as well.
Really simple. We can take money in whichever way.
You might say that.
If you're old-fashioned and you want to use the post and the cheque, please send us a cheque. Yeah. If you can use bank transfers, then go and do a bank transfer. All the details again is on our website. There's a big orange button, top right-hand corner of the button that says "Please donate." You can either set up a one-off donation, or you can set up a monthly direct debit.
Well, there you are. Thank you very much for talking to us at the Surrey Residents Network. We wish you lots of luck. Thank you so much for and we've had a few struggles, you and I, of getting this interview on. You're a busy man, but
technology.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's Tony Carpenter. He's the head of marketing and communications at Phyllis Tuckwell Hospice Care.